This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brooks Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brooks Bloom's three-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.
This podcast is presented by Tab. Best time in sport with the best app in sport. G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast. And as always, joining me on the line, my best mate, Azzy Treloar, who's obviously going through quite a fair bit at the moment. We completely understand that he's going to be struggling a little bit, but mate, very grateful for you to be here. And I know it's your podcast too, but on my behalf, I just want to thank you for turning up. I know you must be feeling a variety of different emotions right now. And we're not going to keep you around for too long, but I just want to say good day, mate, and tell you that I love you, and I'm sure all our supporters do too.
Thanks, mate. It has been pretty tough, pretty emotional last couple of days for me. I promised myself that I would not get emotional on podcasts, so I'm not going to. I know that I did for about half an hour with you this morning. Got pretty upset, but it is a unique episode this week. Obviously, you and Braydo, and Braydo is basically the third man of this podcast who, you know, we both love dearly, and we're very grateful for having him on our side, as I am super grateful for him to jump in and fill my spot. I know he'd be more than capable to potentially take it. That's how good he is. But I appreciate that, Braydo, and I know the listeners will. But yeah, it's been, it's fair to say it's probably been the most emotional I've been post an injury. I've had some pretty bad injuries. The double hamstring probably comes to mind more than anything. And I was quite upset after that, but I was a little bit younger and, you know, I hadn't been injured up until that stage. So it was kind of just move on. But this one probably hurts the most because it is a significant injury. I am out for quite a bit. 6 to 8 weeks, and that's obviously all things going well, which is basically the regular season. Not that I'm ruling it out, but hopefully there is a time where I can get back. I've worked so very hard all year to get on top of my calves, and everyone knows that it's my calves. I mean, I walk down the street and that's what people yell out to me. How your calves? How are they feeling? And that's what's kind of let me down at the moment. So there's no real answers, or no answer that I can give you or give anyone, because, you know, I feel like sometimes it just gets to a certain point in your life or your career, for this instance, when, you know, whether it's years in the system, whether it's the longevity of playing, I don't know, many factors factor in. Can't really give you a reason why these things keep happening. And, you know, going into the game, I felt great. I feel like the medical side and Bally and DZ and everyone who I've been working closely with, you know, were working wonders for me and getting my body up, you know, weekly. And, they were certainly felt like they were putting basically their best foot forward for my sake, and I certainly felt that as well. So going into the game obviously felt great. So there's no real signs of, you know, me hurting myself. So to then have an episode where, you know, I knew straight away that it was a pretty bad calf, that's where all the emotions really hit me. And yeah, it's been a really, really hard 2 days, Joshy. It really has. I basically turned my phone off for 2 days. I had an influx of messages from everyone at the footy club, from you. I know, you sent me multiple messages, which I know you're certainly worried about me. But yeah, I just had to turn my phone off and just gather my thoughts basically. And I know people might think, you know, Adam, what are you talking about? It's only an injury. It's only a small thing, which it is in the context of life and the context of basically life. It is a small thing, but for someone who, you know, I have lived and breathed football my whole life. for my whole life, and it's all that, I've ever known. And it's always been something that I've always been able to go back to when things are hard. It's always been, I talk about my saving grace being my under-17s. Footy has always been my saving grace, mate. It's got me out of, life of poverty growing up. It's given me an opportunity to set up my family, meet great people, have experiences in my life that I certainly don't think I ever would have had. And that's all thanks to footy. So to still be as passionate as I am and to still love the game like I do and want to be out there and play with my teammates and have success with them, to not be able to do that because of reasons you don't know why, and I don't know why, because I do everything right. As you know me better than anybody, that I do everything possible for my body. That is where it really hurts me. So, yeah, they're kind of my initial thoughts right now with everything. And, it's just been a really challenging couple of days.
How have you managed it, mate? You mentioned you turned your phone off. Like, what are you doing in that time? Are you just obviously consoling and Kimmy and are you talking to anyone outside of your family, and you're just spending time with your family that you live with, obviously, but like, take us into what that 2 days has been like for you.
Um, it's been hard. It's been really hard. Like, really, really hard. Probably two of the
Mm,
toughest days that I've had in my life.
mm,
And yeah, it's more been surrounding myself with Kim and Georgie. Georgie obviously is just the light of our lives, and she brings great joy and brings perspective, which is great. I've got some really, really great mates here who, obviously love and care for me as the person, and they've just constantly reached out, and I caught up with them a couple of times, and then I've got my junior footy that, as everyone knows and knows me, I'm really loving it. And we had a session last night, so I went down there, and I love those boys very much. They're very supportive, and we actually lost on Sunday, which was our first loss in this grade. And a lot of the boys were saying, because they were worried about me, because they obviously knew that I'd hurt myself during the game. So that's kind of what my last 2 days have been, filled with. That and plenty of emotional tears and thoughts about many things, mate. And if I could talk to you for hours about my thoughts and whether they're rational or irrational. I don't really want to say too much on what I'm thinking, because I don't really want to create headlines or create stories that don't need to be created. So I'll leave those thoughts to me. I know you know those thoughts, and the ones close to me do. But um, yeah, there's just been many thoughts, many doubts with myself and my body. But there's still that little man on my shoulder who is that optimistic um, young boy, basically, who still has that competitive drive, which I do, mate. I have that competitive drive. I was able to play 3 full games this year so far, and play, fairly limited. It's fair to say I've been quite limited in my games. Anyone who knows me can see that. But I still feel like I can still, and did have a really positive output on the game and really contributed to the wins. So that's that little man telling me, Adam, you're still such a very good player, and you can be important to the team. So you've got to get up and get off the canvas, if you want to call it, and keep going. So yeah, that's a little bit of an insight to the positive side. I'm not going to go into the other thoughts because, yeah, as I said, I don't really want to create something that doesn't need to be created.
All right, mate. Well, I don't want to hold you too much longer. And as you said, Braydo's going to take over now and do the rest of the potty for you. But just want to say again, mate, that we all love you here at the Ads and Dunks podcast. And yeah, obviously wish you all the best moving forward. I know you'll be back. Like, as you said, you're that competitive beast that just wants to continue to do better things day in, day out. And yeah, mate, from the bottom of my heart, feel really sorry for you that it's happened again. But I know, once again, that you'll be back out there soon. So thanks for your time, mate. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I look forward to next week when you can get back on here and we can have a good yarn.
Yeah, no, I do too, mate. And thank you to all the listeners and the fans of the podcast who have sent their regards. They've you don't realise how many fans we have of the potty until you get the messages. So I am super appreciative and forever grateful for the support that I have. And I look forward to next Tuesday, mate. I'll be a vibrant, bubbly Adam that rather than the one that's a bit flat at the moment. So I appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Take care of yourself. Alrighty, Braydo. Obviously, tough chat with Adzi, but great to hear from him. Appreciate you taking over from now, mate. You looking forward to the next 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, well, first off, obviously, love goes out to Ads, and it's just one of those things. I know it would hit your phone as soon as something like that happens, because you're probably one of the other first people that I think of, because I know that Ads is at the game. So my first thought goes to, geez, I wonder what Dunks is doing. So I'm sure that you're getting hit up with a million calls at the same time. But I'm glad to be on the show. Hopefully I can bring the normal spunk that Ads brings to the podcast. I don't think I'll be as jaded. He's just he can be an angry little man sometimes. So I'll try bring some of his energy to this podcast and spray a few people for him.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, we'll get straight into our blooms of the week, mate. You've got yours off the top.
I want to bring up I don't even know if you call him a young kid, because he's been around for a little bit, but Pat Voss. Now, I don't know if you've seen this kid play football, but it's just something that I love, is just the joys of youth. You're out there, you've been in the system a while, you're jaded, you're angry. You get some young kids come through the system, and you're probably seeing it with like Logan Morris and some of the young kids that playing at the Brisbane Lions. But Pat Voss, if you're seeing this kid kick a goal, geez, does he get off the rails? He looks like a big train getting a big steam engine, and he just starts chewing down the wing, high-fiving everything in his path. Isn't it good to see?
It's great to see. So you're telling me that's your Brooks Bloom of the week, or another one for me later on?
No, this is, put this on the agenda. This is my Brooks Bloom. Pat Voss's celebrations. His celebrations in general. I love the other forwards at Freo. I'm a big Dick Tracy fan. Jai Amos. They got so many forwards down there. But I wish they would just all funnel their goals straight through Paddy Voss, because I want to see what happens if he kicks 10. Imagine if he kicked 10.
I tell you what, mate, the celebration was elite, but the commentary around it too. I can't remember who was calling the game, but
BT on 7.
It was unbelievable. BT, yeah, was it BT?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was so good to see. I'll tell you my Brooks Bloom of the week, mate. You don't watch much NBA, do you?
I've seen. You're not going to give it to Halliburton, because that would be sadistic, wouldn't it?
I'm going to give it to Halliburton. I'm going to give it to Halliburton because of him and his leadership in putting his body on the line, mate. So he's gone out there, he's done his calf in game 5 and then played game 6 with a little bit of a niggle. And then game 7, he's gone out there and he's torn his Achilles. So he's essentially put himself out for another 12 months just by putting his body on the line. So I'm giving it to Hallie this week.
Oh, that's a good angle that I wasn't thinking of, because I was thinking you were giving it to him for getting injured. Now that looked horrific. The way that his foot went flat and the ping, I think if there was an opposite of a Brooks Bloom, I'd be giving it to the broadcasters, because I did not need to see that from 20, 30 different angles, super slow-mos, him crying on the ground. We get it. We saw it. That's something that the footy does pretty well now. I reckon audiences in Australia have given it to Channel 7 and Channel Fox, the feedback. Polite feedback we all know they give out on social media, and we don't want to see replays like that of players getting injured.
No, I agree with that. The NBA did go to a timeout because I was watching it, and but yeah, when they came back from the break, it was all slow motion of the Achilles literally popping. You could see it. It was shocking. All right, moving on to one of our favourite segments of the week, our Tab segment, and thanks to Tab for all their support. We're very welcoming for Georgie Parker to be with us tonight. Thanks for joining us, Georgie, firstly. And yeah, you've got a fair bit for us in terms of the WNBA this week.
Well, yeah, I have. There's lots going on in the WNBA. Have you seen the whole Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark fiasco? You seen that? Caitlin Clark is
I did.
hands down just changing WNBA, isn't she? She's doing landing it on the map. But I've got a little multi there for you. So Indiana Fever, which is Caitlin Clark's team, that's all everyone knows that team, taking on Seattle. But I've actually got Seattle winning this one. I don't think Caitlin Clark can single-handedly win that one. So I've got them winning that, but I've got them winning at the line. So the line's pretty short, 3.5 points. You're a basketball guy, aren't you? Yeah, so I think if they that's what you're known for, basketball guy and hardball get. So minus 3.5. I think if they're going to win, they'll cover the line. That's what I think. But also, I've got the total points under 166.5, the total points, which is actually a pretty high line for this team. They're a really good defensive team. So I've got a player that really hard to say, Neka Ogwumike over 15 points, and it's because she's had 16 plus 0.6 of her last 8 games, so she's averaging 17.5 points in the last 8 games. So I've got her for over 15.
I'll go to my one now. My tip of the week's actually in the Tats Tiara this weekend here in Brisbane. So I'm going to go on Firestorm, which is the favourite, but I'll give you a roughie as well, and it's Curve Volante, who's a Hayes horse, who I feel like I know
Hazy.
You're not. Yes, Hazy, you know Hazy. So I feel like it's one that's hasn't been in great form lately, but there's always one that stands up in the big races up here in Queensland. So that's a bit of an each wayer, but Firestorm, I think the favourite will be too good.
What's the roughie paying?
The roughie's paying for $13 and $4 to place, and the favourite's paying $4 and $1.75 to place. So if I get the favourite, mine's going to beat yours this week. My tip.
Did you play with the Hayes boy? Did you play with him? Was he at the doggies when you were there? Getting in good mail when he was playing with you?
Well, they're not allowed to give too much mail out, but when Will was playing footy, he used to give us a few tips on the side. Tips are always a tip, so you can never really trust them, can you?
Oh, some people give you their A tips, others give you their B and C and D list, don't they? So it depends how much they like you with what they're going to give you.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thanks, Georgie, for joining us and helping out the Ads and Dunks podcast. We'll have to get you on for a proper episode in the coming weeks, because I know that you're obviously big into your sport and footy and stuff as well. So,
particularly when crows are flying, I'm happy to talk about them all day.
Are you crows? Are you?
Crows from Adelaide. Oh, I love my crows. So I could talk about them when they're. But ask me about the last 5 years.
Yeah, well, if you listen to our first or early episodes this year, I was always on the Crows bandwagon. I thought they were going to be the best team this year. And I said that to Adsy, and they're going pretty well. So fingers crossed they continue their form in the back half of the season.
Fingers crossed, and finals coming our way. Finally.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Georgie, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
All right, that's it for the Bloom of the Week and our Tab Tip of the Week segments. Braydo, footy this week, what caught your eye? Was there anything out there that you wanted to chat about?
Oh, and there was plenty that came out of the weekend. And boy, oh boy, did I watch so much footy over the weekend. I tell you what, Dunks. But this guy, I almost gave my Bloom of the Week, but as being a Collingwood supporter like I am, I couldn't bring myself to do it because he started the chain that led to Collingwood losing to the Dom Sheed kick. It's Jeremy McGovern being medically retired. First of all, he's been out there quite a while. He's been out there your entire career. So it's going to be a bit different seeing a position vacant that he's going to leave in this West Coast team. But any memories that spring to mind about Jeremy McGovern?
Oh, mate. We're actually talking about him the other day because we found out, I think we were in Geelong the night before we played. I think it was Thursday night. We found out that he'd been medically retired, and you look at his stats, right? Like you would think how many games do you reckon he's played?
250 or something.
He's played 196 or 7, I'm fairly sure. And I sat there and I was like, geez, that's not many games for a player of, his caliber and the personality and the respect that he's got. Like we all sat there and were in agreement that this guy's made such an impact in such a short period of time if he's only played that many games. Do you know what I mean? Like it's insane to for him to be retiring, and obviously wish him all the best as well. It's a tough time for him. Medically retired isn't a thing that we hear often in our sport, but it is sort of occurring a lot more nowadays. So I mean, memories of him, I just remember tagging him every game that we played against him because he's just so good, and he's such a superstar at what he did. And I just couldn't believe it when I seen it, and I wish him all the best.
And it's probably the second part of this is obviously congratulations on a stellar career, 5 All-Australians, premiership player, club best and fairest. Almost 200 games, just short. The other side of it is the concussion panel, effectively taking the decision out of his hands. Is that obviously someone like Jeremy McGovern, like he played in that grand final with broken ribs, and so his heart will never be questioned. But sometimes, do you think it's good that these decisions are being taken out of the players' hands now?
Yeah, it is tough. Like from a player's point of view, like you just want to keep playing, I mean, for as long as you can, and you just want to be able to contribute. So I feel like these decisions with the head, especially, are really important. And for that to be taken completely out of players' hands is probably a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the future of the game as well. So, I mean, we all talk highly of the concussion and the protocols and that kind of thing now, and you see it, around the world in different codes. But to answer your question, I feel like it is a good thing that it's taken out of our hands.
Now, you know what's not a good thing, and I think we can universally agree on this. Did you watch any of the GWS Gold Coast Expansion Cup game?
I did watch a bit of it, yep. I was back on the farm for the bye, so went home for a few days and watched it out in the bar that Dad's built out the back of the house. So I said it, I reckon it was halfway through the third. I was like, the Giants will win this. They had a bit of momentum. They were going all right, and then they proved a lot of people wrong, I reckon.
Yeah. Firstly, congratulations on the big win from the Giants. But it was more the Gold Coast Suns, the jumper that they were wearing. It was very West Coast.
It was very West Coast.
And I think it's a bit puge. I'm all for them in the pink. What do you think of the pink? I rate the pink.
Yeah, I don't mind the pink for something different. It didn't look good when they first shot photos of it early days, but on the screen it looks all right.
Yeah, and then what do you think of? It's too West Coast, isn't it? Their away kit.
Yeah, it probably is. I the only reason I would say that it's like because our Fitzroy kit is very Adelaide away kind of kit.
Yeah.
So
right.
There's always a bit of a mix in terms of but it is weird colours to have for a Gold Coast Suns jersey. I feel
like it's the Titans. Is it the Gold Coast Titans that play up there?
Actually, no. It's more Parramatta Eels.
Yeah, Parramatta Eels. Yeah. I mean, you have to know now, living up there. If you get that wrong,
I know.
They're going to be.
If I get that wrong, I'll get crucified.
Now, something else that happened out of that game, and everyone's talked about it, but I got to get your opinion. Jed Walters' set shot at goal. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't.
Oh my goodness! You have to get this so I can see a live reaction to it. But essentially, okay. Jed Walters, up and coming forward of the competition. He's about 15 out, slightest of angles. And I just want to get your opinion on his run-in because, well, for starters, it's not a run-in. It's a very slow amble-in, if not a walk.
All right, I'm watching it now. I mean, mate, I can't really talk about set shots. I can this year. I've been all right. Oh, he just kicks it off one step. The biggest thing we get taught in goal kicking, and as I said, I'm not a goal kicking professional, but it's momentum. And if you look at the momentum there was probably zero of it. So I'm sure he'll be getting back to the drawing board and using a lot of momentum moving forward.
It's a good call, and it's something like you've said. You've been in the workshop working on your set shot goal kicking, so it's something that we all need to get better at. Especially me, I can't kick over a jam tin. But one more that I've just sent through. Now, this isn't a podcast of links, but I've sent you a unfortunate set shot that results in a bird being caught up in an incident. Now, this is not safe for work for those that haven't seen it.
All right, here we go. You're telling me he hits a bird here. Look at it. There's a few of them swarming. Oh, and it falls down. Did it survive?
We'll say it did. One of the players picks it up and takes it from the field, and I'm sure it made a full recovery from there.
Wow.
Is that something
I've never seen anything like it. Nah, never.
Is there a game where you've been playing, like at the MCG, when there's a million seagulls out there where it's been pretty difficult?
Yeah, and the ball's hit a bird, but it hasn't hit a bird like that hard. Like it will just land on the bird or whatever. But that's fully clocked it. That's KO'd it.
So do you believe in the cables that run across the roof of the MCG that scare off the seagulls? How does that work?
Not really, no. I don't know how that works. If someone out there can actually tell us the reasoning behind how that would work, I'd love to know, because I've always been interested. Like you walk out there and you look up and you see the cables and there's still birds on the ground. So I don't know what it does.
It doesn't make much sense. I feel like we should have the big eagle that swoops around the stadium like they have in Perth. No, I've never seen a seagull on the Perth surface.
True. Just get a big hawk to overlook the whole thing.
Yeah. Now, that's pretty much all I've got, because the rest I have is probably in your game and with the Brisbane Lions. So did you want to move into a review of your match?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's move into a review of our game. It was obviously a cold Friday night down there in Geelong. Big white night the whiteout night or whatever they call it.
How did you see the white night?
Oh, mate, it was when we first walked into the stadium, it was sick. Like white shirts everywhere. Like the whole thing was white. And I've seen, the American high schools and teams do it over there in college and whatnot. So I thought it was going to be pretty cool. But then we didn't get to see it. Like as players, we weren't out there. So it was a bit hard for us to know whether it was good or not. So I ran out and was expecting it to happen pretty much before the centre bounce, but it didn't. So it was a bit weird.
Yeah, right. Because I tuned in late. Now, I don't think they planned for people like me who tuned in late to the game, because half the people had turfed the shirts, understandably, with the scoreboard. Yeah. Half the people had left, so it was blue seats all the way through it. And then there was a pretty big chunk of Brisbane Lions supporters there. So I'm not sure if they would be doing it again. If you put your business hat on, do you reckon it wouldn't have been a very good business success, would it? But we all know it's not all about profit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much they spent. Probably, I heard a rumor that it was around $50K on the shirt. So that's a fair bit of money. But one of the funniest things actually was when we rolled out there before the game, there was white shirts everywhere except for Brisbane Lions cheer squad had no white shirts, and our family section had no white shirts. So they'd gone through and looked at all the tickets that Brisbane supporters had bought pretty much and didn't give them a white shirt.
No white shirt. I don't know if that's...
No white shirt.
Jeez. I was thinking if you wanted a couple of free white shirts, you just search the bins outside afterwards after the loss, and you could probably scalp a few of them. And then I didn't know whether the tactic was when you're handing out you obviously drape the white shirts over their seats before the game, I imagine is how it goes. But do you have to go like a 7XL to put it over the jacket? Because if you would...
Yeah, they were...
If you made it like a medium,
3XL, I reckon.
Yeah, if you made it a medium, you'd just chuck your jumper over the top and it wouldn't have the effect. But I don't know if they'll be doing it again.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a cool concept, but it's not something that, I mean, it works in college sport over in the US, but whether it worked here.
Can I ask you a question that I often think is controversial, but do you think Australians are not the best supporters of sport. Now, hear me out. We don't just cheer for nothing. We don't just stand and cheer and hoot and holler. If you go to the States, they can just make noise for the sake of making noise. And you go through all of Europe, they can make noise. They have their chants. We're not like that. We're, especially in AFL, the whole sport is about complaining for free kicks. Every time you hear from the crowd, it's like, ball or how far or in the back. It's not like, well done, great play.
Yeah. I feel like you're spot on. I mean, if I think of myself, like when I go to Europe and watch some soccer or go to America and watch some football, like I'm not standing up and making noise for the sake of making noise. Like it's just not the way that I feel like we are. I don't know. We're not like primed that way. Like we're not taught that way. So I don't know. You saying you want to see more of that kind of stuff?
It would be cool. But also, I couldn't see myself ever buying into doing it either. Like I couldn't. Footy goes for 2.5 hours.
That's a long time.
That's a long time to be screaming. Like imagine is it the Seahawks or whatever, loudest fan base in the world? Yeah, I couldn't do that. I can't yell. Anyway, get back into your game. There's plenty to dissect.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a great win for us, and a lot of people would have written us off before the game. But as I said on a couple of interviews I did after the game, like we went into the game knowing that, you know, our best footy is capable still. And if we had kicked straight the last couple of weeks, it would have been a different story for us in terms of win-loss. So, I mean, we had so much confidence heading in and pretty much executed the way that we wanted to. It was a great win and one that we'll, move forward with a lot of confidence out of, and to hopefully take that momentum into the back half of the season after a bye next week.
Just a quick one. Last week you said that you feel like Brisbane have a pretty good record and they have a good showing down there at Geelong, but you hadn't won there for 20 odd years. Is that something that you acknowledged throughout the week?
Yeah, we brought it up and I was like, oh shit, I said that on the podcast and that was incorrect. I probably should have said, Brisbane have taken it up to them the last couple of times, haven't got the win, but it's been challenging for them.
Yeah, no doubt. But I want you to tell me all about Logan Morris because he's just the young superstar of the game. I love seeing a young forward out there strutting his stuff. He's the youngest person to kick 5 goals back-to-back since Matthew Lloyd in 1997. Must be pretty exciting to, I'm not going to say Joe Danaher replacement, but it's good to have, these young forwards stand up.
Oh, it is, mate. It's, he's, the day he walked in the door, I think we knew that we'd found a bit of a diamond in the rough. Like his ability to, have fun off the field, but also when it's time to work, he gets to work. And I've been pretty close with him ever since he came to the footy club, and I don't want to pump him up too much because I know he'll get a big head, but he's been so important for us. And, without him last year, we probably wouldn't have been the team that we were. So for him to be still backing up and playing the footy that he's playing currently is insane. And as I said earlier, like it's not a surprise to me that this happens to a guy like him because he puts in an absolute power of work, and he's come from, a great upbringing and the pathways and all that kind of stuff, but was never really talked about. And now here he is on the big stage doing big things. And I'm absolutely pumped for him, stoked to, have him as a teammate, and excited about what he can bring for us, not only for the rest of this season, but into the future as well.
And another one of your teammates that I have not stopped hearing about all week is obviously the Scottish suitcase, Hugh McCluggage. Is he in all-Australian form, or are they going to snob him again?
Yeah, well, it's got to be his best year of footy so far. I mean, he's played a consistent brand. I feel like he's bought in, and I reckon as I talked about this earlier this season, like he's bought into the defensive side a lot more this year than probably what he has in the past, and that's done him absolute wonders. Like he's been able to, get back and help, and really invested in that side of things. So I love playing with Huey, similar to Moz. Like those guys are invaluable, and you can't really replace them if they were to go down. So, I mean, I hope he gets all Australian. It'd be awesome for him. But I know in his mind, all he wants is another premiership, and that's what we're chasing.
So have you already started getting into Will McLaughlin's ear, asking about how he's going to spend his frequent flyers after taking a hanger over the weekend? Because I think they get 200,000 odd. If they're doing that again, they better not have changed it back to those. You get unlimited supply of Wheat Bix or some shit like that. Talk us through the mark. Did you see that up close?
I was on the bench at the time, and I was standing there, I think, with Kai Lohman. And mate, any wonder these young fellas, they try and sit on blokes' heads every week or every chance they get, because they get so much velocity points. So it's a big holiday for him. So no, it was funny. We were both standing there and cheered him when he got up there. And mate, it's actually a tough mark to take in those conditions, because it was a little bit slippery. And for him to do that and get up there in his first game in quite some time, of AFL footy, that is, it was, yeah, really impressive. We were watching it after the game in the rooms, talking about it with him, with Will, and he was loving every minute.
Now, I know Ads steers clear of the controversial stuff, but Ads isn't here at the moment, and I know you thrive on it. You absolutely love a talking point. You always try to roll him under the bus. I want to get your thoughts on the Dane Zorko 50-metre penalty.
The one,
where he went inside the protected zone, allegedly.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I didn't even see it. Like, I thought that it was all good, and I thought Harris actually gave it away, but he didn't. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to talk about, because the game is extremely, extremely hard to adjudicate these days with the pace of it and what goes on. But, I mean, those little instances that happen, you sort of just cop them on the chin in the game. Like, you don't really think about it until after. So for him to, I mean, be giving away a 50 there, when you look at it after the game and post game, probably wasn't there. But I mean, in game, you just sort of got to move on pretty quickly. Otherwise, those little things can stay in your mind and cloud your judgment moving forward.
Now, we all know the best players on the ground. They're the midfielders, as you can surely attest. And then the forwards, they sell tickets. Now they're looking at giving players like your mate, Harris, a nice little pretty ribbon for being the best defender in the league. Do you reckon the defenders are due an award? Obviously, we got the Coleman, we got the Brownlow, which is essentially a midfielder's award. Do they need an award?
Yeah, like Defensive Player of the Year award, that kind of thing.
Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah, well, like you said, the Brownlow is probably a midfielder's award. The Coleman's a forwards award. So I don't see there any harm being a defender's award, Defensive Player of the Year. But I think it's got to be open to everyone, because you have wingers and that get back and take big marks or whatever it is, put a spoil on. So I wouldn't just have it being a backman's award, but majority of backmen will win it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, we got the All-Australian. They get a blazer. There's 6 of them.
True.
Actually stuff them. If you went into the club and you said, look, Harris, we know that you'd love a medal or whatever, but, mate, come on. Just go punch the ball over the boundary and let us get in there and have a stoppage. Now, last of all, and we want to shine a light up north, 65,000 members of Brisbane Lions. What an achievement. Have you noticed the growth since you've been there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've noticed it big time. Like, from day one of being here and to now, like the difference in the kids, you know, even adults walking down the street with their shorts on and coming up and saying g'day. Like, it's a lot of it. It's a very different, what do I call it? Like, you don't get people hanging shit on you. You more just get people saying g'day, and it's a bit different to Melbourne like that. Like, if you play a bad game, they're like, oh, it's all good. Just move on to next week and get a win for us. But, yeah, I've loved my time up here so far. And it's great to see the growth of the game up here. It was part of my reasoning to move up here, really, was to sort of help grow the game and be a part of the journey of, you know, the Brisbane Lions and what they can bring. And so to have our fans, you know, 65,000 of them now, all a part of it. It's just so special. So hopefully we can continue on that trend and keep winning games of football for this great city.
And obviously, you go through the pub test. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go to a pub to have a drink, but you might go there and have a nice little salad or something like that. The pub test. Have you ever seen a game of AFL football on a TV screen in a pub in Brisbane?
Yep. I see it a lot more now than what I used to. I mean, there's times where you go into pubs and you see just NRL and cricket or whatever it is on the screens, and you got to ask them to put the AFL on. But now it's proper. There's at least one screen, I would say, in most pubs.
Hey, that's pretty good. We'll take that, won't we?
It is. It is. We'll move on to next week now. We'll do your tips. You like tips? I know you like your tips.
Well, I can't. This is great for ads because if I do poorly, he can blame losing the tipping on me. And if I do well, it was only 1 week. I was only picking for 1 week. The rest was him. So
Yep.
we're
So
going to.
you're doing ads this ones this week.
Yeah, we're jumping into it.
Yep, let's get into it.
All right, I'll read them out because you're the big dog around here. I'll do the little the pleb stuff, looking it up on the app. So we got Thursday night, June 26, 2025. You probably don't go into that detail. 7:30 p.m. my time. Not sure what time it is up in Brisbane. Port Adelaide versus Carlton, 12th v 10th, Adelaide Oval. Who have you got?
Well, both teams coming off a loss, and I reckon both will be very disappointed. I feel like Port will bounce back at home. Carlton obviously very disappointing against North, but as we've said all along, mate, North aren't a bad team. So I don't know why people keep getting their arms up about North losing to North Melbourne. Like they're a great team. So, but I do think Port in this one. Who do you reckon?
I wouldn't say North are a great team. I would say they're a competitive team, but they are down the bottom of the ladder. But I'll give you a pass for that one because you're a nice guy. I will say I am a big Kenny Hinkley fan, and I am a big fan of Hayden Carlton. So I'm going to go Port Adelaide on this one. And then we move ahead to Friday night, Sydney versus the Western Bulldogs. We can just jump straight into this one because we've got no ads. We don't have to push it to the end. Who have you got?
I've got the Dogs. I feel like this. I'm fairly sure this is Bont's 250th. If I'm
Bont's
correct me if I'm wrong.
250th. Yeah, that is this
I
week
reckon
or
that's
next?
true.
This week or next?
I reckon it's this week against Sydney. So I'll tip the Dogs, but I do think this would be a great game of football. Like it wouldn't surprise me to see Sydney leading, majority of the game, but the Doggies coming out on top. So I'll tip the Dogs.
Goulden back, Papley back, SCG game.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm going to go the Dogs. If you got Sam Darcy up there, one out, clear out the paddock, pump it in long to him. Then I'd also have to tip the Dogs because I'm doing ads.
Oh, it's for ads. True, you do.
And then we got Saturday, day game, 1:20 my time. The Suns versus Melbourne at People First Stadium. Ooh, this could be interesting.
This will be a good game. I feel like the Suns will get this done. They'll be disappointed, as we talked about earlier, with the loss to the Giants. So I'm going to tip the Suns.
So you're on the Suns. You don't think the Suns are shaky anymore. They're a legitimate operation.
I think they're legit. Yeah, playing against them, they've got so many good elements to their game, and they've improved this year in a lot of different areas. So yeah, their game's a lot more well-rounded now. And I reckon they'll beat the D's on Saturday.
I agree. And it says they're sitting in ninth, which is just misdirection because they've played two less games than half the other teams out there. As long as Jed Walter fixes up that goal-kicking action, I reckon the Suns will get it done. Then we move into now. This is very interesting given that North Melbourne is a great football team. 4:15, Hawthorn versus North in Tassie. I think I already know who you're going to tip in this one.
You reckon I'm going to tip North?
Well, I would imagine.
Nah, I'll tip Hawthorn.
Oh,
I reckon North to get this one done.
That's completely contradictory. But hey, if that's what you want to do, if they're the ethics you live by.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll cop it on the chin. I mean, like you said, I just feel like the Kangas they're a lot better team this year than what they have been in the past. And as we've talked about on the potty before, like the talk that happens outside of the footy world in the media and all that kind of stuff paints a picture of what a team like North is like. And internally, I know, and Ads would know, and all the boys would know that play AFL football, all the coaches, everyone involved would know that North Melbourne are a lot better. So that's my only reasoning for saying that they're a great team, because I actually feel like they genuinely can concern a lot more teams now.
And one on their game against Carlton last week, they were up by 40-odd points before almost being chased down at the end. I'm not sure if you've played in teams of that caliber, but is it hard to, when you haven't been a winning team, is it hard to finish games off like that when you haven't ran them out over the past few years like North has? It's a completely different prospect to face, is holding on to a game and keeping the lead and finishing the game.
Yeah. Yeah. It was similar to Richmond a couple of weeks ago against the Giants. Like, they were up by 40 odd and got caught in the end. But I mean, it's hard, mate. Momentum these days in the game is insane. And to be able to, like you said, you haven't won many games before. I probably haven't been in that position too many times, which I'm grateful for. But I mean, to be able to stop the momentum when you haven't experienced a lot of winning is definitely a lot harder, because those situations normally happen in finals and that kind of thing. So you've got that experience to relate back to and go back to the drawing board and learn during the week. But they probably wouldn't have had that many opportunities. So it would have been tough for them, but great to see them stand up and in the big moments get the win.
Well, you have sold me. I'm going to go North Melbourne this week, and hopefully Jack Darling can get that shin stitched back up. It was a literal, figurative shin boner. He was both. Figuratively, he was a shin boner, and literally we could see his shin boner. So that wasn't great. Now, I know you're going to, whatever your plans are for this weekend, I know you're going to park them, because we've got an absolute blockbuster. Collingwood versus West Coast at Marvel, 1st v 18th. How do you see this one playing out? Is it going to be closer than people expect?
No, I don't think it will be closer than people expect. I feel like the Pies will put on a professional display and, get the Eagles by quite a margin.
Jeremy McGovern tribute game? Doesn't get the boys over the line?
Nah, I don't think so. I feel like the Pies are, as I said, they're in good nick at the moment, the Pies, and their footy's been pretty good over this year really. So they'll show that on Saturday nights and get quite a convincing win.
Well, it's probably good for Collingwood fans out there. No nightmares, no Dom Sheed, no Jeremy McGovern. Should get the win, even though it is a away game for them at Marvel Stadium. And we move into Sunday. We got your boys, the Adelaide Crows versus Richmond at the MCG. Can Richmond stay competitive throughout the whole length of the season? It's round 16. A lot of people anticipated that they wouldn't get a win all year. Now they've proved those people wrong. But now's the grind from 16 through to 24. You reckon they can keep it up?
Yeah, it is a bit of a grind this time of year. I mean, we've had a late bye, but normally these months are the hardest ones to get through, because you've normally had your bye in like round 12. So, I think Adelaide will get this done easily as well. But I mean, the Tigers, hats off to them, the way that they've been able to perform this year so far. And I mean, it'd be nice to see them in this game. But I just feel like Adelaide will be too strong and too professional.
Geez, they're good. I love watching Keezy play. He's probably one of my favourite players in the entire league. And it is good for Richmond. Richmond have had something to watch every week. They got that many talented kids coming out of there, and they're only going to get more coming into the draft. So it's nice to see them, but obviously have some period of no success, because we don't like teams just being successful all the time unless it's Brisbane. I will give my tip to Adelaide, Ben Keys to kick 6. And then this game, I reckon these guys are the absolute sleepers of the competition, because they're one game behind. All their competition's having the week off. They're going to catch them napping. Fremantle Dockers. currently sitting
Yeah.
in 6th over in Optus Stadium, coming up against Ross's St Kilda, who knows how to just shut the game down against his old club. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, this is going to be a good game. Ross will be trying to keep it pretty low scoring, I would have thought. But, I mean, mate, the Dockers are a team that I can't remember at the start of the year if I said they would be in my top 8, but they're a good side. Like, they are a good team. We're starting to see what they're capable of, I feel. And them with Adelaide, like, I feel like are the two threats almost in the back half of the season. So I'm really excited to see how they go with Ross's defensive model that he brings to St Kilda. And if they can put in a good show on Sunday night, then, mate, the rest of the competition will be a little bit nervous to come up against them.
Now, yes, I'll also give my tip as Fremantle. I think, like I just said, give it to the big train, let him go off the tracks, and we'll just see how that goes. Hopefully he can kick 10
That'd
this
be funny.
week. And see. He might just run all the way out of the stadium. We got to get your votes because we run a very reputable voting system here, and if we don't get your votes, the whole thing's out of whack.
From last week, yeah?
Yeah, from last week.
Well, should we do that? Because Ads didn't give his votes.
We can skip both votes, and then that will keep everything.
We'll skip both.
Keep everything nice and level.
Yeah.
Geez,
We'll just do that. We'll just have a week off.
All the players that are tuning into this podcast, as I know they do on a weekly basis. If you had a good week this week, you're feeling absolutely
Stiff.
ripped off because it's anyone's game. We know that it only takes one player to get 2 sets of 3 and they're basically leading the medal.
Yep.
That's all we got. Is this?
I've got the curly question for you.
Oh, I was trying to duck out of it.
Before we wrap up, I just want to get your opinion on this. All right. So when you go to a restaurant, I know you go to restaurants
All the time.
Do you start cleaning up your plates for the waiter before they come over or not?
Because I'm a very respectable young man. Well, young, I'm 35. Absolutely I do. I think my mother put the fear of God in me every time I left the house. If I was going to a friend's house and I was halfway out the door, she'd call out to me and she'd say, make sure you use your manners. Now, there's nothing more attractive in this world than a person with good manners. And I could go down a very dark, deep hole talking about we don't scrape our teeth on the cutlery. We don't eat with our mouth open. Now, I know, has Ads called you out about that before in the past?
Oh, he calls me out for being a guzzler. So when I drink, like you'll hear me swallow, essentially.
And yeah, all of that stuff, it sends me up the wall. So then I actually did it today. I went down, we got a local cafe, Italian little family cafe down here, and I got my ravioli for lunch, carbo loading for no sport. And I make a real thing about giving the plates and cutlery back and then throwing the little serviette and napkin in the bin. And then there's a little nonna that sits by the door and I kind of nod at her. She doesn't speak a lick of English, but she kind of nods back. So what about you? Is that something that you do?
It is something that I do, but I do it at a restaurant.
Yeah.
If I'm at a cafe, I won't do it for some reason.
Yeah, you just,
like
you
if
just
I'm out
push
for
it all
breakfast,
onto
I'll
the floor and tell them to pick it up.
No. I'll make sure everything is like neat and tidy, but I'm not going to go and grab, like if I'm out for breakfast with mates or boys from the club, I'm not going to go and grab all the boys' plates and stack them up. But if I'm out for dinner with Tipper, I will get her plate and stick it up and stack it up on mine and put the serviettes on, like you said, knife and fork, done. Hand it over to the cleaner. I'll wipe the table even sometimes.
Well, that's a lot. You might put him out of the job.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. But I'd love to. I'm shattered I can't hear it, but I'd love to hear what Ads does because I reckon he would just leave it.
Yeah, for sure. Why he's not here, we just assume. But yeah.
We'll get him to answer it next week.
I feel like he'd be a big stickler on not grinding your teeth on the cutlery. I reckon that would send him up the wall.
Oh, anything to do with eating and drinking sends him up the wall. So
I think which
if
is
you ever actually having a drink with him or eating, just chew with your mouth open for 5 seconds. You'll lose.
which is ironic, isn't it? Because we all know, and long-time listeners of this podcast, dating back years now, we all know, and this is guaranteed, you can confirm it, that he loves listening to mukbangs, the people eating
Yes.
on YouTube. He like froths it. I reckon he's probably doing it right
does.
now, listening to someone eat a lobster, slurping it up with all the sauce. Oh, it's crook.
He'd have it on in his theatre at home. Guarantee you right now, he'd be sitting there watching people eat 20,000 burgers in 10 days or whatever.
While like just binge flicking through. I saw him flicking through his social media. He consumes about 0.2 of a second of each video and he just flicks it. No wonder he is the way that he is, but we love him.
Thanks, Braydo. Thanks for filling in, mate. Really appreciate it.
You watch
Hope,
the numbers soar for this episode.
I was going to say the numbers might soar. It's been so weird for me because I'm actually not talking to you on the screen. I'm just looking at Ads' face, paused, like at the end of his chat. But it was a great chat, mate. Really appreciate your time. And I know you're always obviously on the back end, but I'm sure from Addy and I that we both really appreciate you chopping us out tonight.
See, these are all the things. I'm normally just sitting here yelling at the screen as I disagree.
Finally got a voice.
Disagree with everything you guys say. Or you ask Ads a hard footy question and he just shuts it down. Or you ask him to talk about himself. Geez, Ads, you had 48 touches and kicked 6 goals. Talk about your game. And he'd be like, no, it was a team game.
Yeah. Nah, it's good. No, thanks, mate. We'll catch everyone next week, and looking forward to it.
Thanks for having me on, and go the doggies, go the Lion. Give us a roar.
Go the doggies this week. Don't worry about us. We got a bye.
Oh yeah, true. Everyone's got the bye. The bye never ends. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't get started on that.
Rightio. See you, mate.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brooks Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brooks Bloom's 3-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.